first thing that I want to get into is this crazy story. Obviously, the Philadelphia riots had been taking place. I'd imagine most of you guys are familiar with that, in which a man was shot by way of the police. I believe they are saying that he was running. I haven't seen any video or anything. He was running at him with a knife, and they shot him. And the opportunistic jackwagons, and let's call them what they are. They don't care about justice or anything like that. All it is that, well, this is a time that we get to act out, and there will be leadership positions that will authorize us acting out. So stealing whatever it is that we want and making excuses for it. They figured that out because that's what's been happening. That's what's been happening as people have burned stuff down, destroyed people's private property. Democrats, leaders, blue check marks have said, well, it's just stuff. It's just stuff. All that can be replaced. Why do you care more about that than you actually care about, I don't know, people's lives? As if you can't have multiple positions at the same time. But there was something else that happened in addition to the 200 stores that have been looted. It's a lot of stores in Philadelphia. But it's just stuff. Let the leftists tell it. But a Vietnamese Baptist Church was burned down. And this is Tuesday. So I'm a little late to this, but I wanted to talk about this. I put this in my bookmark because I was like, I have to talk about this on the show. Vietnam Baptist Church coming from the Blaze, where I happen to do work for. And it says, Vietnam Baptist Church pastor Philip Pham told the Baptist press, I have no idea why they attacked our church. They burned it from the roof. They threw flammable chemicals on the roof and flames burned through the roof. Despite the church being at a total loss, the pastor is grateful for a small miracle amidst the destruction. Pham received a phone call on Tuesday night from a friend informing him that the church was on fire, and there have been 7 fire trucks there to attempt to put out the blaze. Pham deemed that one thing in the church was irreplaceable: 3 hard drives containing very important information. Before the purchase of the building, the Vietnam Baptist Church served as a community center, which provided assistance with immigration paperwork, taxes, marriage counseling. More than 15 years of notable documents were on those hard drives. I pray right away, God, please protect those hard drives. Other stuff can be removed, but those files will never be recovered. And here's right here for those of us that are watching this live, you can see right here that the church is burned. And they are, wow, that's pretty bad. And they are tending to it. It says the building it's called Vietnam Baptist Church in Philadelphia was burned Tuesday night during the second unrest. And that's October the 26th, by the way, in the city after the police shooting of a black man on Monday. So as you can see, here are some pictures. The place is burned. So they got the hard drive. The positive information is that there was a hard drive that they wanted to get a hold of, and they were able to get it. There was no harm done to it. Said the routers, everything else was all melted, but the hard drives were fine. So they did have the hard drives that were in the church. But nonetheless, what ended up happening, of course, is that the place was burned. Now, sit here and ask yourself, why does this take place? Why is it allowed to take? And a lot of you guys probably never heard about this, either way it goes. But obviously, this is an awful thing, man. This is a very bad thing when you burn someone's church or anything. It doesn't matter if it's a church or not. When you burn people's buildings to the ground out of this. But that's what has happened, in that people's stuff has been looted. Property has been utterly destroyed, both big and small businesses, as reported. As you can see, it was 200 stores that had been looted. And again, it was big and small businesses. People, just because obviously most people seemingly flock to the Walmarts and the Targets and all of that, but those were not the exclusive spots that were hit up, right? These are opportunistic people, so they get where they can get stuff from. And like I said, we have to go back to the simple fact that this bad behavior had been authorized and has been excused by particular parties, particularly or specifically coming from the left, and which they've hijacked the conversation, right? But more importantly, what they did was say, you know what? You did this, or this man was shot, and therefore these are just folks that are lashing out for the sake of justice. Obviously, that's bullcrap. The analogy I always use is if you and I personally got into an argument, or you did me wrong or I did you wrong, and out of response, you burned down your neighbor's house, I burned down my neighbor's house, one or the other or both, or whatever. That's the equivalent to what's happening here. That has nothing to do with anything. We need to call it exactly what it is. This buffoonery is just coming from opportunistic people. And what you hate is that you have realized that you can't control these individuals, right? These individuals that have been looting, that have been burning down people's businesses, have realized that you can't control them, and they can use your movement or protest or whatever it is that you claim to be a part of about justice, social justice, or whatever it is. They have realized that, okay, we can piggyback off of that, and you're going to make excuses for it. You're going to make excuses for it, and that's what's been happening. We talked about Marianne Williamson, I believe is her name, basically saying, well, you can do that. She even referred to the church, right, to the scripture, talking about, well, thou shalt not loot is not in the scripture, but thou shalt not kill is. Idiot, not understanding that thou shalt not steal, of course, is in the word as well. Never mind that. Isn't it always hilarious how people refer to the Bible? They hate Christianity otherwise, but when it's convenient, or when they think that it's convenient, they want to appeal to the Bible. Any other time, they call Christians the worst people in the world. Hilarious. Like I mentioned, this stuff does not stop. I don't think it stops until obviously people defend themselves, but you have to understand why folks are reluctant. And they're reluctant because to defend themselves and their property, because they get punished in the event that they do that. And I'm not talking about like just Kyle Rittenhouse or anything like that. We even talked about the bar owner, right? The bar owner who is a bar owner's son, right? Shoots someone and they trying to send him to jail, right? Police soul ain't got no problem. That's the hilarious thing, and why the thin blue line types. You're starting to see a lot more conservatives wake up to the police thing. Obviously, a lot of them still are licking the boots of the officers. Officers will sit and be told to stand down and watch your stuff be set on fire, right? Watch your business be burned to the absolute ground. And then in the event that you decide to defend yourself or your business, who do they co-send? And they ain't got no problem arresting your silly ass. Who do they send? To take you and lock you up? Police. They ain't got no problem watching your stuff be you still defending them, right? Because they got their hands tied, right? They've been told to stand down. I bet they've been told to stand down. Now they're arresting your silly ass. So I understand that, but this is why I say that this is an opportunity, and this whole instance, right, since post George Floyd, has been an opportunity for the conservatives to actually be consistent on their position of liberty, and they've dropped the ball. Right? Well, the conversation should have been about liberty, protection of people protecting themselves. That's what the conversation should have been. What's happening? Right? You get one little sheriff out in Florida who says, well, I'm encouraging them to blast you away if you try to loot their own property. For the most part, though, it's milquetoast. It's protection of that institution that has absolutely no problem arresting your silly ass. They have no problem arresting your silly ass, but they will be told to stand down and watch your businesses be set on fire. Nonetheless, this doesn't stop until it gets to that point. And I know it's a little bit of confusion there. And this is why I say that this is a golden opportunity for the Republicans to actually take control of the conversation instead of automatically always adjusting to what the leftists do, playing defense. You claim to be about liberty, right? Take the liberty position. Take the liberty position. That's all. That's all I ask.